Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day one of the spring summer meet. I think it's called the Palm Beach meet. I think it is. Right?
I think it's a Royal Palm.
Royal Palm meet. I know. I was just fooling with you guys. Fast main track, firm turf, of course. All weather Tapeta today. We're in that 4-day-a-week schedule now, and that is why we're here on Thursday. So Thursday through Sunday. Got a pretty nice weekend card already drawn up for at least for Friday and Saturday. So. Brian, it's you and me now, buddy.
You said it. Take us all the way to the wire. So looking forward to it. As you said, strong 11-race card on Saturday. So, and a lot going on at our sister track at Santa Anita as well.
Yeah, and then we got some good racing this afternoon. And guess what? Race 2, first 2-year-old race in the meet, and that's what our meal ticket is in the summertime. We get some great 2-year-old races here. So with that said, fast main track, firm turf, all weather Tapeta this afternoon. Let's check out Brian's early pick 5 ticket.
$24 will spread here in race 1, and then Ronnie alluded to the 2-year-old race, and I would think Cajun Hope and Keanu will vie for favoritism in that one. 3 deep in race 3. The top pick is number 6, Smart Spending. We'll show a replay on that one coming up too. 58 in order in the 4th. Tap a Turn is my long shot play of the day. I admittedly struggled to find one. I thought it was a card that's probably, Ronnie, looks pretty formful, at least on paper. And then, of course, Alize for Marty Drexler off the claim in race 5. Luis Saez riding here off a just another powerhouse performance championship for him in the jockey standings.
Yeah, just took the lead on day 1 and never looked back. So today's race is going to be about 5 furlongs on the Tapeta maiden claiming 3-year-olds. This is the only race that we had a couple of scratches in. Scratched the 2 and 8. And please note the number 1 Pork Chop, love the name of that horse, is now a gelding. I just thought the number 4 Blank's hat trick. I'm going to try and get a little bit of a price. You got this one in second. On top, this one turning back slightly to 5 furlongs. Solid debut going 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta, in which he rallied to finish 3rd. That was against those 25 maidens, Steve Dworsky, Miguel Vasquez. Miguel Vasquez right there all throughout the championship meet. Good rider. He's going to be one of the top riders here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you mentioned Steve. And Steve, don't forget, had such a strong late spring, early summer. And, we transitioned to the championship meet. And, that's not necessarily his game. He still won, did a good job. But now I think, a guy like Steve is going to win a lot of races here at this meet. And this one really tipped his hand on debut. Ran very, very well in a race where no one else made up any ground, and he did, a son of First Samurai. So I would think he'll even be probably running a little closer today with that experience behind him.
The horse you have on top, number 3, Shanghai Warriors, debuting locally after showing that speed and finishing 3rd. That was up in 7-furlong debut on the Tampa main track for Mike Deeney. The only, Paco Lopez in the saddle.
And you know what that means. We're going, and I think this horse is a controlling speed in here. I mean, this horse went 45 and 3 to the half, going 7 at Tampa. Now we cut back to 5 on the Tapeta. You need to be close. This is such a quick, snappy trip. Paco here engaged is going to send early, and I think that could be, take a deep breath and hope we don't forget to stop.
Well, one of the angles that everybody followed during the championship meet was on the number 1 Pork Chop, who's going to the Jose D'Angelo barn after the claim. Debuts on the all-weather surface today after rallying to finish 3rd against those 16 maidens. That was going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. The barn was 30% with new claims, but 32% with the Tapeta runners. Junior Alvarado, and as I mentioned, this coming back, or at least listed as a gelding this afternoon.
Yeah, and the scary thing with this horse is his form was already probably good enough to win this race, and now we go to Jose, and you just mentioned everything about him. And Junior Alvarado is going to stick around over the summer. Junior's going to win a lot of races, and the fact that he tabs him, and he's got him on a few horses later in the week as well, says, I wonder if they're going to start partnering up, and that could be very, very prolific for both of them.
You're not going to do some research and find out when our buddy Edgar Zayas is coming back. He should
be back
close. Soon. He's got to be close. I got to do some checking. I'll let you know later. As you mentioned, our first 2-year-old race of the year, 4.5 furlongs, maiden special weight 2-year-olds. And this early on, you're going to see a lot of fillies going against the boys here, which is just common when these races start out. I did go with the number 5 Cajun Hope on top, who's the son of Win Early Sire. Cajun Breeze debuting for Mike Yates. bullet 3 furlong workout showing for this assignment. Going to show you stat on Mike Yates. I'm going to show you a couple of stats in here, but first we're going to start with Mike Yates with his 2-year-old first-time starters. Over the past year, he's 4 for 18, 22%, 33% in the money, and a nice positive return of investment. So just good numbers. And, maybe if I would have went back further, he had 1 year about 3 years ago that was just every Cajun breeze that came out won. So I didn't go back that far. I just wanted to show you what he did last year.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a stat we could even find with the Cajun breezes, but I remember when it was early in my time here at Gulfstream, back-to-back days, Mike popped, I think, at $17 and about $9 with firsters. He does such a good job. The barn is, always intent on getting these horses to fire early. You look at that bullet, Ronnie, the last work there, 35 and change. I think this horse can run, and I think this horse is fast.
And that's their game with these Cajun breezes. They like to win early, especially at this 4.5 furlongs. So please note, this is the first finish line when we go 4.5 furlongs. So just that short run in the stretch. Now, Keanu right now is the current, I don't know if he'll be favored in race number 2. We'll see. Keanu is an Arundel homebred son of brethren, debuting with 7 workouts showing a preparation for this assignment. So here's that other stat I want to show you, Carlos David. I don't know how much you could read into these stats, but his 2-year-old first-time starters on the dirt over the past year, 2 for 17, 12%, 47% in the money, and only a 68-cent return of investment for his 2-year-old first-time starters. And sort of just wanted to show Brian the difference between barns that like to set their horses up to win early.
No, I agree, and I'm looking at the double will pays, and it does seem like Cajun Hope will be a little bit of a favorite. I like this outside attack post, especially for a first-time starter, a young, lightly, obviously an unraced 2-year-old. Jaramillo is here as well. The Dam was 1 for 5, finished second on debut, so that's solid. Second full to race. The other one wasn't really much. I would think these are the two, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I would think today Cajun Hope's ready to roll.
There's always a barn I take a look at, and they come back, and and that's the one horse, Beautiful Astray, who's debuting for Northwest Stud Stables. This barn, every once in a while they pop with a first-time starter, trainer Roberto Palafico, I think it is. A trio of sharp workouts. Now, that's up on the farm. It's a daughter of Gone Astray. Got to deal with the inside post this afternoon. This is a filly against the boys in here. But this barn, always keep an eye on. So we'll see if this first-time starter up there, and see how he runs. I think he was, third choice on third or fourth?
Yeah,
third choice in the morning line.
And a couple things here. She's a full to our buddy Meteorito.
Oh, yeah, I saw
about that, right? And you mentioned, I'm glad you did, the fillies here. And like you said, we're going to see that a lot. And normally I think people would think that that's a negative or not the best angle. Typically at this time of the year, especially through the midsummer, the fillies are a little more precocious, a little more developed. So that's not a bad thing at all.
Well, you remember growing up, 15-year-old girls way smarter than I ever was. I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I know. So that's what, these kids, they'll run well. I don't know, you translate one to the other, but I just know girls have always been smarter than me.
Right.
So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow Six ticket starting anew for the championship meet.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round off her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Triple Crown just right down the road. Of course, our second jewel, the Preakness Stakes, right at our sister track. Always a fantastic time of year. Third race today, mile on the turf, starter optional claimers. 8-race card today, so that's where the Rainbow Six starts. Let me show you my ticket here. And I went too deep in here, and I think Smart Spending and Big Bad Diva, even though I get a negative stat, might be the logical 2 in there. Race number 4, I thought was pretty wide open, so I went with Inner Wave, Co-Pilot, Sandy Dude. I think you have your long shot in that that one. I didn't use that one. No, in race 5. I thought the race went through Ali Z in race number 5 with the 2. Also used Vale in there. Got a stat on Marty Drexler with the Ali Z. I'll show you that. In race number 6, I went with High Front on top, but I wasn't sold, off the layoff, so I went a little deeper with the Discreet Tune, and Ice Chocolate will have some interest in. That horse here is making its North American debut, and know when to get. My best bet is the 4 in race number 7, Uno Tiger. I think that horse has a big shot this afternoon. It's Kathleen O'Connell. Just had a fantastic winner, especially on the Tapeta. And the last race, my long shot today is Pretty Keen, a daughter of Keen Ice and half-sister to Superstar Turf runner, and that's Extravagant Kid for Laura Cesaris. So we'll see if we can get that one. I think 8 to 1 on the morning line.
I like it.
So getting back to this race number 3, you have Smart Spending on top, I believe?
I do, yeah.
So let's show that. You got a replay, too.
Yeah, we got a replay coming up here, and I'm going to preface it with saying I don't know how much run that she had here, but she's down inside the 5-horse here. But she had a lot of trouble. I don't know if she was moving forward when it was happening. There's no doubt she would have been a lot closer, and she lost all chance. You're going to see her get whacked around here coming up in a few seconds, and I think it just took her out of her game. And I agree. I don't know if she's traveling right here or not, but she's in a tricky spot to begin with, and then it's really going to go wrong here, and that's just not what you want to do, and then it's game over. She's given up first run to all these horses, and she packed it in. But you look at her other races prior to that, on the Tapeta, on the turf, the versatility. Paco's going to put her in the game early, and I think that theoretically puts her in the right spot late.
If you look at her record on the turf, she's 6 for 10 in the money with 10 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and third. Makes her first start on the grass. Now, last time she ran on the grass, she went every step of the way to beat those 16 condition claimers going a mile up at Tampa during January. You mentioned Paco Lopez, but I think she's versatile.
Yeah.
I think she can be on or with the pace this afternoon. So, I put the 4 on top, Big Bad Diva. Reasoning was face better on the turf in the past, going back to the grass and turning back to the mile. Stalked the pace, finished at even 4th against 35 condition claimers in a race. Moved from the turf to 12 furlongs on the Tapeta surface there. Here's that stat I was alluding to. We talked about this stat the other day. Sappy Joseph Jr. with horses going Tapeta to turf. He's only 4 for 31, 13%, 35% in the money. 170 is the return of investment past 8 months. I bumped it up to 8 months just to see how they done when we started the Tapeta. So there is cause for concern with that one. Smart Spending for all the reasons that you mentioned. Who else did you use?
I got the 5 actually in second. Excuse me, Lady J and Victor Barboza. I'm willing to get by the Tapeta race last time. Look at her turf form, 2 and 3 back. Fits snugly with this group. They were against Florida Breds, but she's running 10s on the sheet. So I would think, and she's another horse. Again, you want to be tactical on this turf course. You want to show some speed. She's got it.
Yeah, she just didn't run a step last time on the Tapeta, so I did also use this horse. And now, of course, Smart Spending and Lady J, both trained by Victor Barboza Jr., and this is when Victor's barn really excels here in the spring-summer meet. So
I think that's a good point on a lot of these barns that maybe had a quiet championship meet. I think of Carlos David. Now, the more races that fit the profile of the barn, I expect a lot of them to wake way up.
Let's go to race number 4 this afternoon. It's a 1-mile maiden claimer on the fast main track, 3 and up, $12,500. No scratches or jockey changes. Only 2 scratches we had in the card were in the first race. You put your late pick 5 ticket together.
I did. I was thinking my long shot here, but it's late pick 5 time. You don't have to go that deep into your pocket. Here, $9. We'll talk about this race in a second. You and I both mentioned Alizé already. Looks going to be really tough for Marty Drexler. Off the claim, my best bet of the day, High Front will be a minuscule price in that one. And then a 3x3 late double, number 2, Marissa's Mission, a video of that one coming up, I do believe. And then in the finale, number 6, Ring Run for Jimmy Toner on the special weight drop, a horse that I think is going to take a lot of money, so I want to make sure I've got that one on my ticket. I don't know if we'll be able to play her in the win pool.
As I mentioned, this one at 1 mile on the fast main track today. I went to the number 4 horse in here, In a Wave. I was hoping to save a tad more for the stretch drive. After dueling throughout and finishing, I thought an okay second. It was his first ever journey going around a 1-turn mile for Dan Peter. Wilfred Velasquez in the saddle. To be perfectly honest, I didn't really know where to go in here, and I just thought of that performance. First time going to 8 furlongs, albeit at 1 turn, I would go there. But I'm willing to listen to anybody in this race here.
Well, I will say this. I think Wilfred Vasquez is a solid young rider, and he's one to keep an eye on as the spring and summer develop. I went to the 5. It's my long shot play of the day, Tapaturn. I admit, I struggled to come up with one on what I think could be a relatively formful card. But we're going to run on the dirt for the first time since Tammy Levy excuse me. And I think the dirt races here are not bad. I think they put this one in the mix against this group. Didn't really run last time, going 2 turns for Barry Croft on the Tapeta, but we've got a lot of foundation. I think we'll be a little closer, running longer than this one was on the dirt. And it's a price in a race where you said it, Ronnie. I'm not overly confident, and I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, Luca Panici, we were talking about trainers that wake up. Luca doesn't have to wake up. He does just, it's hard to get those mounts, but he does an excellent job in the spring and summer meetings. So
Absolutely.
Another guy you always have to keep. He's always in the top 4 or 5 at the spring summer meeting. So he'll be running. Then I went to the 1 co-pilot. You can see how wide open this race is. We both went different ways. Co-pilot's dropping to the 12.5 level on the main track. Counted trouble last time on the first turn prior to fading through the lane. That was against 25 maidens. Going a mile 70 odds was on the Tapeta. Bob Hess Jr., David Lopez handling the inside draw today. It was just, going to the dirt, maybe, dropping to the 12.5 level will wake this one up.
Yeah, the inside's the problem here, but you look at the race 2 back against much, much better. And that's going to put him, if not in the winner's circle, it's going to put him in the mix. We haven't mentioned Sandy Dude, who's better than these, but the chance, 0 for 15 now, Ronnie. That's tough to trust.
Yeah, Barry Croft, Jose Morelos will be in the saddle. Was given time off after hitting the board in 4 or 14 races.
Yeah.
So it's always there, but tough to put that one on top. So
Exactly.
Wide open. So if you got a bunch of singles like Brian had with his ticket, or even in the Rainbow Six, maybe you go deeper in this race here, boy. It's a tough one to handicap. I don't think that's going to be the case too much here in race number 5. This one is about 5 furlongs on the Tapeta. Claimers, fillies and mares, 4 and up, $10,000. We've seen Marty Drexler a lot during the winter, and he did a real good job with number 2, Ali Z. This one goes to his barn, actually, after the claim, turns back, rallied 4 wide to finish 4th. Beaten less than a length in that race against those 10 claimers going 5.5 furlongs. So I found a stat on Marty. First after the claim, on the Tapeta right here at Gulfstream Park over the past 6 months. Boy, he was good. 4 for 13, 31%, 54% in the money, and a nice return of investment, $3.90. Took a while for people to get hip to how good this guy was, especially on the all-weather surface.
Yeah, and Marty's done such a good job. Normally, I would want to fade these horses a little bit that don't have a lot of speed in these 5 races on the Tapeta, but there's plenty of speed to his outside. And Marty's just everywhere, and 27%, as you mentioned. He's going to get Luis Saez. I think it's so cool that Luis Saez is going to ride here today before, he leaves town, and he's going to pick up a very, very live mount here today.
Louis does not miss a dance.
No, he doesn't.
That's why he had 100 and whatever wins. He had 31, whatever wins he had at the meeting.
I was in Dubai on Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, and he was riding here on Sunday.
Yeah, that was most amazing. What about Vail, who's going to the Jose D'Angelo barn? We mentioned this earlier today. After the claim, where's Blinkers? Finished at 5 wide 5th behind Ali Z when they hooked up. That was back in February. The barn, 38% with first-time blinkers besides the other factors, and Junior Alvarado in the saddle.
5 for 13. So that's a big-time stat, 33% off the claim, 32% on the all-weather. We've talked about it almost ad nauseum. But I still think at the end of the day that Alize is a better horse.
I used the 3 and 3rd. Drinks on me. Never heard Brian say that ever. Drinks on me. Moves to the Mauricio Fuentes barn after the claim. Turns back. Yielded late to finish 3rd against Simla, going 5.5. Boy, talking about jockeys that are going to sell here. This Edwin Gonzalez is a good rider. This is a winner of 5 of 9 races on all-weather surfaces.
And Edwin, if you're not in the loop, is as good, for my money, better than anybody on this Tapeta surface. Problem with Drinks on me is he's probably the inside speed with a lot of pressing to his outside. That's a tough trip to pull.
Well, we'll see how it runs, but as I mentioned, has run very well on the all-weather surfaces. Race number 6 this afternoon. 5 furlongs on the turf allowance, optional claimer, 3-year-olds and up. The optional claiming price, $25,000. And of course, high front, you would think off that performance is the one to beat. I know you wanted to show it. Now I'll tell you why. I used a couple other horses in the Rainbow Six.
Well, there's nothing to see here other than a horse that's just absolutely awesome on debut for Jonathan Thomas and George Strug. Thoroughbreds, excuse me. He's actually not on the chicklets, but trust me, that's him in front, and nobody will ever get in front of him. And he just does it with consummate ease here as well. This was a solid field, and Jonathan, a high percentage trainer. Here they're coming to him a little bit. They make him run a little bit, and Luis just shakes the reins, and that's probably another reason why Luis is here today. Doesn't want to give up the mount on this horse, who could be something. And I don't really think they got to the bottom of this horse either. He's the controlling speed. I certainly don't really see anyone in this spot to run with him early. I know taking on winners, Ronnie, is never an easy task, and stepping up, and it can sometimes be a rude awakening for horses like this. But boy, this was a dominant powerhouse performance. I don't see any reason why he doesn't double up in here.
Well, let's add to that horse that's absolutely one to beat with a stat here. Jonathan Thomas, winner last out sprints on the turf. He's 6 for 26, 23%, 62% in the money. 144 is the return investment over the past 5 years. So yeah, he's the one to beat. He's going to be everybody's single in here. And this is where I thought maybe I can get a little bit of a price, albeit I have this one on top. No, I never would leave him off the ticket. But Discreet Tune is a 3-time winner on the local turf. Returns rallied to finish fourth. That was in that dash up at $90,000 turf dash up at Tampa. Carlos David Jr. Alvarado atop this previous turf winner at this level, at this distance. So respect the connections in here. And if High Front, hasn't been seen in a little while, maybe, we'll see how this horse runs. So I used this one in second, as you did too.
And he did scratch out of a few spots too, High Front. So we'll take that for what it's worth. I used him in second too. He's got some class to him. I just worry if he gets run off his feet, he'll never see High Front.
The number 3, Ice Chocolate, the Brazilian bred, now in the Marquesi barn. The intriguing 4-year-old makes his North American debut with Lasix. Won 3 of 4 races in Brazil, albeit going longer distance for Embassy El Jaramillo. There wasn't really a stat that I could show you. He doesn't do this mark a lot where they come from, making their North American debut. He had, maybe 18 and he won 3. So really nothing to base it on. But if this horse can run well for this barn, it could be very dangerous in the spot.
He's a Group 3 winner in Brazil. I don't know what that means. He's won 3 races for 11,000. So obviously they're not top of the line. He does get Lasix. The other thing I will note too is he's been bet off the board in every start too. So Mark, you put the pink silks of Gary Barber on, and they do good things. I would assume this horse was a private purchase, Wackel Stable and Mark. So they've teamed up to do a lot of good things together, including win a Preakness.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but they've thought enough of this horse to buy it and bring it up here. So we'll see how it runs here in the old good old U.S. The 7th race this afternoon, about 1.70 miles on the Topito allowance. These are state-bred 3-year-olds and upward, and we have, let's talk about my horse first.
Let's talk, because, we don't have Mr. Leonardo on top, but we do want to show a replay. We'll get to it.
The number 4, Uno Tiger, will face state-bred allowance competition after rallying to come within the neck of defeating those 20 starter allowance runners. That was going 1.70 on the Topito. Here's what I wanted to show you about Kathleen O'Connell with her Topito horses in route races. She's 12 for 40, 30%, 48% in the money. 356 is the return investment. She's just been, incredible with this horses. Nobody knew how their horses were going to translate to the all-weather surface, and you're getting Paco Lopez in the saddle.
That's one of those ones we just cut and paste and show it every time because she's so good, Kathleen. And this horse has got huge figures as well. Just missed last time. Paco back aboard. Clearly the horse to beat.
And that was in route races, that too, and not even sprints or anything like that. But you did go with number 2, Marissa's Mission, who's returning to the all-weather today.
So we have dueling best bets here because Marissa's Mission is mine. And, we're going to get back to the Topita for Marty Drexler. And I thought, the race 3 back, that was that really, really good handicap that we ran here earlier in the meet, arguably the best Topita race that we ran. It was at 9 furlongs. We cut back. I think there's enough pace in here to set Marissa's Mission up. So I think this one now, second time Topita for Marty Drexler. We're in a good spot here. And you look at the race for Ronnie Spatz, 4 back, and that was a huge effort.
And Luis Saez in the saddle today, so you can't go wrong with that. We'll talk. Well, let's talk about your horse here. I believe you put in third, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mr. Leonardo. So here's the trip here that we're going to show. This is the race 3 back, but it's also the last time this horse was on the Tapeta. Okay, down inside the 5 horse, another horse kind of mired on the rail. They're flying pretty good at a pretty good clip here early. Now he was aided by the pace, I readily admit, but he's got a lot of trouble. He actually drops out of the picture here, and he's just, nothing's going to go right in here, and he's going to have to thread his way through. He's still got nowhere to go. The jock is, in the dashboard, waiting, giving up first run to all these horses here, and he's finally going to kind of bull his way out a little bit, and when he gets into the clear, into the breach, he runs on strongly. Yes, the pace helped him, admittedly, but I thought, all things considered, this was a pretty solid effort. He's going to be a number in here today. If you're looking for some exacta or maybe a price, exacta value or a price in your late 4 or late pick 5, don't sleep on Mr. Leonardo.
Ridden today by Romero Mirage. What about the number 6 horse in here? And that is Hoping Him. He's stretching out around 2 turns on the all-weather after stalking the pace and weakening to finish 5th. But that was behind a pair of classy next-out winners. Clapton, who went into the Florida Derby. Yes, I'm a Beast. That was going 6.5 furlongs. This horse was keeping some good company for Joe Orsino. Edwin Gonzalez at top. I think this horse might be part of the pace today.
Yeah, Clapton actually made a really menacing move on the far turn of the Derby before he flattened out a little bit. Edwin Gonzalez is here. We've got sprint speed stretching out. Don't be surprised if he's aggressive and puts him in this race.
Yeah, that's the way I saw that he might be part of the pace. Race number 8 this afternoon. We're on the turf. These are maiden optional claimers, fillies and mares. 3-year-olds end up with $40,000 if you're not a Florida bred. Clean slate, no scratches, jockey changes. I'll tell you why I used the number 2 in here, and that is Pretty Keen, who's my long shot today. It's a daughter of Keen Ice and half-sister, as I mentioned, to turf superstar runner Extravagant Kid. Returning to the turf, had some trouble early on, clipped heels, finished that late closing second against 50 maiden optional claimers. That race was moved from the grass to mile 70 yards on the Tapeta for Laura Cesares. You're getting Leonel Reyes at top. I just thought this horse on the grass maybe can wake up, and I was looking for a little bit of a price.
Yeah, well, this is a race where you could just throw the dart and see where it lands. It could go anywhere. You mentioned all the trouble Pretty Keen had. Has a running style, too, that's going to pass a lot of horses, and I'm not sure how many of these horses want to go this far right now.
The number 6 Ring Run is who you have on top, was dropping into this 40 maiden optional claimer. Made that middle move last time out.
Tough to win 2 turns on debut, and this was in a maiden special weight as well. And Sensitivity, who ran in the stakes here on Saturday, actually was an okay 4th in that stakes at 31-1. She wired that day, so you can tell the flow of the race dead set against Ring Run. She took a little money for Jimmy Toner, who's not a guy that's going to crank him up fully. I just wonder, Ronnie, if maybe this was a spot all along they had in mind.
Still haven't gotten over that long shot that he almost won with Jimmy Toner the other day. That one hurt. So, but Jimmy Toner,
24-1, I think.
Yeah, I had Jimmy Toner, one of my favorite turf trainers throughout the years. So certainly have him on my ticket. You went with the number 3. I think you got a video with Tiz Impressive, and this one got in a little trouble last time out.
You want to see some trouble? We're going to show 2 views of this. This is remarkable. Now, we got the famed Whisper Hill Silks on here this time, and she's out there in the back there, the number 7. You can see the pink the pink and yellowish silks, okay? She's now off the claim today for Jose Pinchin, but you can't even make up what's going to happen here. And somehow Tyler sticks around and he stays on this horse, and somehow she re-rallies. It's going to come here off the far turn. We're going to show both views just to get, because she's going to fall out of the picture after the trouble here. Look at this. Whoa. He almost falls off. She goes out of the picture. So now we're done here because she doesn't come back till we're flying late. But if we're going to show the head on as well, this is remarkable that she's running on here in just her second start, her first at 2 turns, her first on turf. And then we'll show the head on so you can really, really get an idea of what happened the entire way. Great job here, guys. Here she is on the outside, kind of tipping out, still out there, the pink silks again. And then you're going to get the gist of exactly all that happened here. And this is a true test, attribute to Tyler's horsemanship, first and foremost, that he didn't even fall off here, because this is it's pretty remarkable what happens here. Right there, almost falls off, and now as he looks like he might pull her up because he's not sure. Hey, is she okay, or what's going on here? No, she's fine, and she's going to keep just rally strongly late. Now we're off from Ralph Nix to Jose Pinchin. Otherwise, I'd probably put this one on top. It's just so hard to improve on Ralph Nix off such a taxing effort, so I put her underneath. She's an absolute, to me, must-use, though, Ronnie, if you're ending your sequences here.
Yeah, Paco Lopez in the saddle today. And then number 7, Novala, who's debuting locally after returning from a lengthy layoff up at Tampa. Finished second, beating the nose. That was a 16 maidens going a mile on the Tampa turf. She steps up. She gets Edwin Gonzalez in the saddle, sort of keying off that race. Maybe I get a little bit of a price in there. That horse, I believe, 6 or 8 to 1 on the line. Well, that's how we see the 8 races this afternoon.
Should be some good value there, and it's a good solid card to kick off the Royal Palm meeting.
And of course, we have our lightning round this afternoon, and we'll show you what we got in store for you. Take it over there.
Yeah, so we'll go backwards before we go forwards and just make, recap the standings of the championship meet. We mentioned Luis Saez was just, prolific all along. I think you said he was ahead on opening day, and he literally never trailed. An absolutely huge margin. Tyler did well to run second, and Irad bested Jose for third. And here we go here. This was on Sunday. Billy Badgett and Victor celebrating with him.
Yeah, and Louis' family out there, so congratulations to him. Just not only a fantastic rider, what a great guy.
He's always smiling, always has something positive to say, and always willing to stop and have a chat, so couldn't be happier for him. And then conversely, Safi as well, bested Todd Pletcher. He had the numbers, but he also had a Florida Derby.
Yeah, he had the Florida Derby and for his first championship meet title. So Todd, I think, had 17 or 18 in a row and didn't get it this year. But Safi had an awful lot of horses, but nothing matters until you get that Florida Derby win.
Yeah, and I think it just meant a lot to him. Safi, a local guy with a family and all that. It's something that he's strove to do, and not only to do it and then to cap it with a Florida Derby had to mean the world to him.
And with hometown kid Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle, so it was all there for you. So when we got, as we mentioned, we got our first 2-year-old race this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to show, we got the Royal Palm meet.
Yeah, let's let them know about that.
Mention that a time or two. We're going to go April to September, 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday, a 105 post. We've got 11 on Saturday. That card's already been drawn. We'll draw Sunday tonight.
Yeah, so as I jumped the gun once again, what about those 2-year-olds?
Well, the 2-year-olds, as we talked about earlier, first race of the meet today, and, Papa Cap, who won here. I think it was my first day ever working here. Here he is here for Mark Cassie and the folks, and, a lot of times these horses prove to be precocious, and maybe they don't run on. Well, Papa Cap just was a bang-up fourth in the Florida Derby on Saturday. Went on to run in the Breeders' Cup, finish in the money, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. A very, very highly rated, highly talented horse.
Yeah, I thought he'd run exceptionally well in the Florida Derby. I thought he'd be a little better than fourth. I liked him that day. Because that was one of the reasons right there. So certainly you never know who you're going to see here in these 2-year-old races here in Florida. Of course, at Gulfstream Park, I can't tell you how many, Kentucky Derby Preakness winners have started their careers here. So certainly always fun to watch those 2-year-olds.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then, of course, Friday, Overlay City returns, the Stronach 5. And here we go here. It's a huge weekend at Santa Anita, our sister track. We'll talk about it in a second, but we've run the gamut here on Saturday.
Yeah, we kick it off on Friday. Race number 8, 450. We don't usually start it all the time. Usually it starts up there, but you can see the progression there. And they are wide open. I think the All-Star ticket is like $162 this week. That's the highest it's ever been. That's how wide open those races are.
And it's 12%. Takeout, $1 base bet. It's a phenomenal one. And then, of course, last but not least, huge doing Saturday at Santa Anita.
Yes, Santa Anita Derby, 100 points up for grab for the winner for the Triple Crown. And there you see it, Saturday, April 9th. They have just so much going on that day. It's always a fantastic day of racing.
Stakes galore, highlighted, as Ronnie mentioned, by the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby.
Well, that's how we see this early card. We're going to turn it over to the one, the only Pete Aiello for the 2 scratches on the card. And then we'll be back here throughout the afternoon. Good luck, everybody.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.